Welcome back. In today's video, we're going to talk about some of the behind-the-scenes dice rolls in combat, such as attack rolls, damage rolls, and saving throws. Some of the stuff can be really confusing if you're new to these D&D based mechanics. But before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out to some recent YouTube channel members: Joseph Teresi, Spiritfire, Lucky 1975, Spectech, Kuro Get Soon, Preacher 5000, and Silver CJ. Thank you guys so much for becoming channel members. Anyone watching this video, if you guys want to come hang out for some live streams, I typically stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, as well as randomly on the weekend. Also, links to my Twitter and my Discord server will be below. Let's get right into it. What better way to start off this video than in the Owlbear Cave, talking about attack rolls, damage rolls, and saving throws. This video is going to be a bit more relaxed than my typical video. Sometimes I like to switch up the style of content. We got to keep things fresh around here, guys. Got to keep things fresh. So what is an attack roll? An attack roll in Baldur's Gate 3 determines whether you hit or miss your target. That's basically it. Now, if you get a 20 on your roll for your attack roll, you do a critical hit and then double damage is dealt. But for the most part, your attack roll determines whether you hit or miss. If you fail in your attack roll, you do not hit your target and no damage roll will be conducted. If you succeed in your attack roll, a damage roll will be instantly conducted and you'll deal damage to your target. Now, the cool thing about Baldur's Gate 3 is that our attack rolls are shown as a percentage when you target over your enemy. And right now you can see that we have a 49% chance for success on our attack roll. So we have a 49% chance for actually striking our enemy and dealing damage. Now you have to pay attention to what the game is telling you though, because sometimes you have disadvantage, sometimes you don't have anything at all, and sometimes you have advantage on your attack rolls. In the bottom left of the screen, it tells us right now that the target is obscured by shadows and there's a red arrow. So that means we have disadvantage. So the percentage chance for our success is lower than it actually could be. We want to strive to get advantage on it if we can. At the very least, we don't want to have disadvantage. So the game is telling us that the target is obscured by shadows. So what we're going to do is light up the room a little bit with our wizard spell, our wizard cantrip called Dancing Lights. And now if we go back to Lae'zel, now that 49% is actually 70% because we got rid of the shadows. Huge difference. Now, if we could actually get behind our target with Lae'zel, which I don't think I can with the Owlbear without setting off an opportunity attack, then there would be a green arrow and we would have the backstab condition. I don't know if it's a condition, but we would have backstab and we would have advantage on the situation, and it would probably be maybe even 90% for our attack roll. So let's take a swing at the Owlbear right now, and then we'll look at the behind the scenes combat log to see what the attack roll is actually doing. All right, so we actually missed. We rolled a 1, and if we take a look at the combat log, it's going to tell us why. So Lae'zel missed the Owlbear, and as you can see here on the top line, it says Owlbear's armor class 13. This 13 is the number that we have to tie or beat to be successful with our attack roll. If we get a 13 or higher, we'll hit our target and deal damage. Now the line underneath that is what our attack roll actually is, and at first you can see there's a number 1. It says critical, and next to that it says 1d20. So the 1d20 in D&D is basically telling you that you would have rolled one 20-sided die, but since we're not playing D&D, the game is going to give you a random number between 1 and 20, and we rolled a 1, which is horrible but kind of funny at the same time. Now with your attack rolls, you also get to add your proficiency bonus, which is going to be a +2 for everybody in early access until the full game comes out, where we'll be able to get that actually higher. And if you're proficient with the weapon that you're using in your attack, then you get that +2 added to your roll. So that 1 now becomes a 3. And also on your attack rolls, you get to add your ability modifier depending on what weapon you're doing or what type of spellcasting class you're playing. And in this case, we're using a longsword, which uses strength, and Lae'zel has a +4 strength modifier, which means she has an 18 in strength because we are level 4, and we get to add that to our roll as well. So we rolled a 1 +2 +4, and that gives us a 7, which is not equal to or greater than 13, so our attack missed. Now let's switch over to a different character. So everybody's favorite wizard is next in line. I know some of you guys are going to comment below, I don't like Gale. Everybody likes Gale. Everybody, including me, all right? So anyways, when you're playing as a spellcaster, your spell is going to determine whether it requires an attack roll or a saving throw. So different spells require different things. Now, if you're using a spell that requires an attack roll, it's going to specify this in the spell's description, and same with a spell that requires a saving throw. Now, if we look at the description of our Cantrip Firebolt, you can see that it says attack/save ranged attack. So if it says ranged or melee attack, it means that you're going to be doing an attack roll against your enemy's armor class, which is 13 for the owlbear. Now, if you're using a spell that requires the enemy to do a saving throw, it's going to say something like dexterity or something instead of ranged attack. We'll talk about that at the end of the video. So let's take aim with our firebolt at our owlbear friend right here. How about at the owlbear cub? I'm just kidding, guys. So let's take aim. We have a 70% chance for succeeding on our attack roll. We don't have advantage or disadvantage, which is okay. If I still had my bonus action, I used it on casting Dancing Lights right here, I would Misty Step up here, and it will give us the high ground, and then that 70% would probably be a 90%, but we deal with what we got. All right, so that actually missed, even though you saw the 1. So once again, let's take a look at our combat log. Owlbear's armor class 13. Out of the 1d20, we rolled a 5 plus 2 proficiency, and then if as a spellcaster, you're going to have a spellcasting ability, and for the wizard, it's actually intelligence, and we have a plus 4 because we have an 18 in intelligence right now. So 5 plus 2 plus 4 equals 11. Which is less than 13, so we fouled. Now, the reason that damage was dealt is because this cantrip actually deals surface damage no matter what, basically. So the ground lit on fire and it dealt a little bit of damage, but we missed our spell, basically. We missed. So hopefully with our next character, we can actually show some damage and talk about the damage roll. All right, so now we are on my favorite dual-wielding ranger of all time, and let's go ahead and do a ranged attack. 50% chance for success. Once again, if I planned this fight out better, I would have high ground with him if I was going to do a ranged attack, and we would have a much better chance for success, but we're dealing with what we got. All right, so we've dealt damage, finally. Hashtag clap, finally. Let's take a look at the combat log. As you can see, once again, it tells us the owlbear's armor class is 13. For our attack roll, the random number between 1 and 20, we got an 11, plus 2 proficiency, and also plus our dexterity modifier because ranged weapons use dexterity, but we have a 0 dexterity modifier, so it's not going to even show it. 11 plus 2 equals 13. We tied it, man. We tied it, which means our attack roll is a success, and our damage was dealt. Now that we've finally dealt damage, we can talk about the damage roll. So when you succeed on your attack roll, the damage roll takes place right away, basically instantly. Now, the damage that you deal is going to depend on what spell you're using or what type of weapon you're using. Since we just used a crossbow, if we take a look at the heavy crossbow, the top line says 1d10 piercing, which means for our damage, it's going to be a random number between 1 and 10, and the type of damage is going to be piercing. I'll talk about damage types in a future video. Now, if we go back to the combat log, you can see our attack roll is a success, and under damage roll, it says 1d10 piercing, and we rolled a 3, so we dealt 3 damage. And also, actually, we dealt more than 3 because we're using a hunter with Colossus Slayer. I don't want to get into that in this video, but that's like some extra damage that you can deal if you take that feature as a hunter ranger. So yeah, so that's an example of attack rolls and damage rolls. Let's go ahead and see if Shadowheart is up. Yes, she is. She looks like she's injured pretty badly. Now, if we take a look at her cantrip called Sacred Flame, let me see if I can get away from these guys. So under Sacred Flame's description, now under the attack/save, it says dexterity. And if you guys remember, our firebolt with the wizard said ranged attack. So dexterity means that our enemy is going to do a saving throw to attempt to resist our Sacred Flame. No attack roll is going to be dealt. So let's go ahead and attempt to do this. This spell usually misses in early access unless your target is prone. And wow, it actually landed. All right. Another hashtag clap. Wow. Sacred Flame landed on a video. That's incredible. All right, if we take a look at the combat log right here, we can go ahead and look that instead of telling us the Owlbear's armor class, it now says Sacred Flames DC is 14. So that 14 is arrived to by 8 plus our character's proficiency bonus plus our wisdom modifier because we're playing as a cleric. Don't worry about all these things. The game's doing the calculation for you. But basically, because of our wisdom modifier and the spell that we're using and the level that we're at right now, the Sacred Flames DC is 14. So our enemy has to roll higher, equal to or higher than that to resist the effects of the Sacred Flame, which the Owlbear did not this time. Now, if we look at the results of the saving throw that the Owlbear did, you can once again see the 1d20. So a saving throw is also a roll of a 20-sided die and a random number between 1 and 20 in Baldur's Gate 3's case. And the Owlbear rolled a 19, and then with a dexterity saving throw, their dexterity modifier was +1, and this Owlbear is not proficient in dexterity saving throws, so they don't get the proficiency bonus, and the Owlbear got a 9 + 1, which equals a 10, which is not equal to or greater than 14. So our Sacred Flame took effect on the Owlbear, and the damage roll was conducted. We get to talk about damage rolls once again, and under Sacred Flame's description, it says 1d8 radiant, so the damage is going to either be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. I should have said either 1 to 8. God, I'm stupid. Back to the combat log, we can go ahead and see right here that for the 1d8, we rolled a 3, so we dealt 3 damage. So it's a little bit confusing when you start saying saving throw and we're already talking about attack rolls. Just know that spells require different things. So you're either using a spell that requires you to do an attack roll, or the spell requires an enemy to do a saving throw, which is kind of like a defensive attack roll, I guess you could say. Now I'm probably confusing you guys even more. So yeah, so that's it for attack rolls and damage rolls. Now when an enemy... Oh, hold on. Okay, so that was actually glitched out. I'm not sure if the recording is going to be glitched too, but the Owlbear just jumped, and when it landed, it actually required Shadowheart to do a saving throw to resist the force of the land, and we can actually look at this on the combat log as well. It's actually called Blast with the Owlbear. Yeah, so the Owlbear's jump thing right there has a DC of 13, and we resisted it by our Shadowheart doing a saving throw, and we rolled a 13 on our 1d20 plus our strength modifier, which equals 15, and we actually succeeded, and Shadowheart was not knocked prone or knocked back or whatever this Owlbear's attack does. So that was kind of another example of a saving throw with a non-spell attack from our enemy, which was pretty cool. And then the Owlbear went ahead and swung at Shadowheart with his claw attack. Shadowheart's armor class is 14. The Owlbear rolled a 5 plus 2 proficiency plus 5 strength modifier, which is the Owlbear's attack, and that equals a 12, which is less than our 14. So the Owlbear's pounce thing right there just failed because we succeeded on a saving throw, and then the Owlbear's attack, its claw attack, failed as well because it did not get equal to or greater than Shadowheart's armor class. I didn't expect that to happen, so hopefully that made sense to you guys. That was pretty random right there. I forgot that the Owlbear does that. So now we're back to Lae'zel right here, and I'm actually going to jump up behind the Owlbear to show you guys advantage. And now if we take aim at the Owlbear, now you can see, but you can't really see because of my camera. Hold on. You can see that it says 94% with the green arrow, which is backstab, which means we have advantage on our attack roll, which is really hard to miss when you have the backstab condition. And we'll take a swing at the Owlbear. And there we go. We did 15 damage. If we look at the combat log, armor class 13. We ended up getting a 27 with advantage on our attack roll, and then damage was dealt. I don't think I mentioned what advantage and disadvantage actually do in the combat log, so let me quickly go over that. If you have advantage with that 1d20 that you do for your attack roll, the game's actually going to do that twice. So the game's going to generate a number between 1 and 20 twice and take the higher result. If you have disadvantage, the game's going to take that 1d20, roll it twice, give you a random number, give you 2 random numbers, and take the lower result. So you want to get advantage as much as you can. It really increases your chance for success, and disadvantage severely hampers your chance for success. All right, that's basically it for this video, guys. I know this was pretty random talking, And I know I say this at the end of all my random talking videos where I don't really have a script, but I hope it made sense to you guys. I know this is very beginner's guide-ish. I do plan on doing some more advanced guides and getting back into lore videos and stuff like that. But while Baldur's Gate 3 Early Access is still new right now, I want to make sure all of this is explained for all the new players out there, because this can be confusing. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. We talked about attack rolls, and if you succeed on your attack roll, then a damage roll is conducted. And with your attack roll as a spellcaster, your spell is either doing an attack roll or requiring your enemy to do a saving throw, and you want to try to get advantage as much as you can, or at least avoid disadvantage. That's it. I'm out. We're done with this video. Screw it. Peace.